Guru Sahib Jiyo sabadan ratan hitan meaa kirtan kali karma kritva ਮਿਟੰਤ ਤਤਰਾਗਤ ਭਰਮ ਮੋਹੰ ਭਗਵਾਨ ਰਮਣੰ ਸਰਬਤਰ ਥਾਨਯੰ ਦ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟ ਤੋਅੰ ਅਮੋਗ ਦਰਸ਼ਨੰ ਬਸੰਤ ਸਾਧ ਰਸਨਾ ਹਰ 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 ਹਰੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਜਾਪ ਜਪਨਾ ਹਰ 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 ਹਰੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਜਾਪ ਜਪਨਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, so this is the fifth part to the Salok Sehaskriti Katha, and today Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they are blessing us in, we've just all heard the 8th slok, and in this slok Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they're saying to us sabadan ratan. So coming from the previous sloks, Guru Arjan Dev Ji constantly reminding us of that what is impermanent, of that what is going to come to an end. So Guru Arjan Dev Ji will continue this through the next slok after this, in the 9th slok. But in this slok, Guru Sahib Ji, where before they've been telling us that in whose hands is that death, that it's that Vaheguru Ji, that one, that source of creation that holds the power to the laws of how death comes upon us. But now Satguru Ji is saying to us that how do you actually escape? What is it that you need to do to escape from this time, from this age of what we refer to as Kalyug? And Kalyug has been mentioned in other scriptures too. Kalyuga. And what is this? What is this Kalyuga? This Kalyuga is that time, is that age where some people translate this to the dark age. Some people translate this in many different ways as well. But what is Kalyug? Kalyug is that period, that time that we are going through at the moment, where Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Padshah Ji, they tell us that ek ਘੜੀ ਨਾ ਮਿਲਤੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਲ ਜੁਗ ਹੋਤਾ. They say ek ਘੜੀ ਨਾ ਮਿਲਤੇ. Even if we take a moment away from the remembrance of our Creator, of Vaheguru Ji, ek ਘੜੀ ਨਾ ਮਿਲਤੇ, they saying then what happens? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਲ ਜੁਗ ਹੋਤਾ. Then Kaljug takes over. Kaljug is that time, is that era where in this period, more than any other time since creation came about, where now in this period, where more people are sinning than ever before. So we've got now a majority of people that are consuming intoxications, that are ruining their lives with consuming alcohol, with taking drugs. And Sadhguru Ji tell us that what is it that happens to someone when they consume some form of intoxication. Guru Sahib Ji say to us that kende ke apna paraya na pashane khasmo takke khaye. They said that's what it does to you. They says you're not able to recognize your own and somebody that isn't your own. And Sadhguru Ji saying that what is it that happens to us when we consume such things? This is jit pite mat dur hoye. They're saying that your intellect actually departs from you, jit pite. By consuming that, this says jit pite mat dur hoye. Tadi jehdi mat ya, your intellect departs, And once your intellect departs, then you haven't got a clear vision anymore within. And obviously, those of you that have experienced and tried some form of intoxication, some form of drugs or alcohol, you know that your actual physical vision is impaired as well. Even that isn't clear, that everything can start spinning. Satguruji, in that you even physically lose your balance as well. But not just the balance physically, but Maharaj is saying you internally within your mind, things aren't the same anymore. You're not now seeing things as you would when you're not intoxicated, when you haven't taken anything. So Satguruji says, Jit pite mat dur hoye, baral pave vich aaye. They're saying what happens is, this is baral. Baral means this madness. This madness actually enters your mind. Baral pave vich aaye. So not going too deep into this, that what intoxication can actually end up doing to people. We know that it has an immense effect on our physical health as well, and the type of things that end up happening from this. So much domestic violence comes about from intoxication, so much abuse comes about. We know how much the hospital systems, the police, how much they have to spend. So much budget is gone towards that. Those people that end up consuming alcohol and they're becoming a nuisance to society, for society. So why am I talking about this? Because this now is talking about how do we escape from Kalyug. And what is Kalyug? Kalyug is that when these type of things, consuming alcohol, going in and out of multiple relationships, having sexual relationships outside of marriage, when all of these things when they are normalized. So now, because more people than ever before, from Treta Yuga, from Dwapar Yuga, from Sat Yuga, from all these ages, it doesn't mean that these type of things did not exist in the other ages, because they did, but there were less. And in this period, that now it's majority people that way inclined in their life. There's more people than ever before that are cheating on their spouse, that are cheating and having affairs. There's more people now. So what happens is, Kalyug is that kende nishani kiya Kalyug di. They said that imagine you walking down the street and 100 people are walking that direction, the opposite direction to where you are walking. In the beginning, you left your home to get to your destination, and as you're going to your destination, you was sure within your mind that you are going the right way, and that this is the path that leads to your destination that you need to get to. But en route, when you start to see that you're on your own and you've seen maybe one or two more very scattered people walking that way, but then you see that everybody else, there's hundreds of people walking the opposite direction, and after a while you stop and you start to doubt yourself, and you start to think that are they walking the right way? So these are those people that are actually living that type of lifestyle, that are consuming, for example, are getting intoxicated and living their life full of anger, living a completely lustful life. So here, don't think, Sangatji, that there is a judgment being made on anyone. This isn't to say that anybody is being looked down on. Even if somebody is living their lifestyle like this, nobody is looking down on them, nobody's looking down on you, or we don't know when that's going to happen to us. This person that's sitting here speaking, we don't know when anything can happen. That's why Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani says to us, they say, be careful in what you say, because be careful in what you think about other people, because you don't know until you've got breath in this body. Anything can turn around and you can be sitting exactly in that position. You could be in those shoes where those people that you was actually laughing towards. So this Bhakt Kabir ji say, this says that Aj ho nau samundar mein hai, kya jana kya hoye. That Kabir ji say, kende ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗਰਬ ਨਾ ਕੀਜੀਏ rank na hasiye koe. They say, Kabir, garba na kijiye. They said, don't be full of any pride because of where you're sitting today. This is rank na hasiye koe. Don't think that today you can laugh at somebody. Rank means poor. Poor meaning here as well, we can then loosely translate it to somebody that you are judging and looking down at. This is rank na hasiye koe. Kende ajho so nao samundar mein. Kende ajho so nao samundar mein. Until you've still got life and you're still in the boat of this life amongst this, the ocean of this world. Kya jana, kya hoye, what do you know what is going to happen to you? So this isn't about judging those people that are living their life in that way and are intoxicating themselves, but we are talking about the awareness that our Satguru gives us about the consequences of living life in that way. Like I said, the consequences are that when our vision physically and internally, mentally is impaired, then it makes us do such things under the influence that we wouldn't normally do when somebody is sober. So like I said, then you see an increase in things like domestic violence. You see an increase in things like people committing adultery. All these things start to happen. And you, like I said, you have people causing a nuisance. You have the police having to spend their time Friday nights, Saturday nights going out to those type of places where it's full of nightclubs and pubs, and then you get people getting into more fights, and then you get people getting arrested. So it has a knock-on effect in multiple ways when people live their life in this way. Somebody is constantly lives their life in anger, and what happens is Kalyug is that these type of things now become normalized. So somebody that is living their life like that starts to be seemed, that's become the norm. And if somebody isn't living their life like that, they actually say, are you mad? Are you crazy? How comes you don't drink? Oh, how comes you don't go out clubbing? How comes you don't do this? So like what you shouldn't be getting angry. No, anger is a part of normal life. You know, how are you going to keep people in check? And so all of these type of things start to become normal. Somebody that now, for example, sits and binge watches Netflix, that becomes the normal thing, and everybody's asking everyone, like, what series are you watching now? Not realizing that they're spending hours in that way. So, and somebody that isn't doing these things, they're actually, most of the time, it's them judging them. Somebody decides to keep their case, and they're like, what are you doing? Have you lost the plot? You're like, you know, how are you gonna look? Have you not thought about this? How can you not eat in a certain place? How can you not eat those type of foods anymore? And this happens in so many households. There's many times when you see youth that are actually taking a step towards a righteous path, and it's their own parents that question them to the way they look, and it's their own parents that laugh at them to say that, what do you mean you're not gonna sit with me and have a drink with me anymore? So Kalyug is that sama when that is normalized. And just like Bhagat Kabir ji say, so they say the people like me, they said, that are actually walking now towards this path of truth. They say that people say to me, Baba, kade main baura, sab khalq siyani, main baura. Bhagat Kabir ji say, kende Baba, main baura. They said, it's me that's crazy. Kende Baba, mere Baba, main baura, sab khalq siyani. Khalq means the rest of the world is calling, the wise Bhagat Kabir ji calling themselves crazy, because they've now become besotted in love with their Guru, Swami of Bhagat Ramananda ji, and they've fallen in love with the name of God. So now they don't indulge they haven't got that same pull now towards growing their business of weaving. And everyone's saying that this was such a huge family business and a tradition that was, always followed within your ancestry and all your family, and you now you don't even show any interest in it. And yeah, Bhakt Kabir ji got by in life, because the truth is, we're not here to accumulate so much wealth in this life that we leave it for generations and generations. Yes, if it comes by somehow it's a byproduct that somehow it comes along, but if we focus a whole life into that. But now Bhakt Kabir ji saying, just because I'm not entangled in these worldly affairs and growing a business, so nowadays everyone's about the way they look, dressing a certain way. If somebody doesn't look and dress a certain way to fit in with everybody else, if there's a bibi out there, a woman out there that has now embraced facial hair because she's submitted herself to the Guru, and that's the way she's embracing and she's expressing her love and her connection with the Guru, the rest of the world will say that, are you crazy? You shouldn't be looking like this. That's not even normal. And the type of abuse that woman will get, that Benji, that Bibi will get, even in their workplaces and everywhere else, because you've got to look a certain way. You've got to be chasing that certain position. So all of these things now, looking a certain way, dressing a certain way, wearing maybe things and dresses that are revealing, that becomes normal. And if you're not dressed, if you don't look a certain way, and if you're not actually chasing money and wealth and growing your business, and instead you're focusing more on charitable work, where you're actually more now focused on giving to society, because you feel that you've got that energy and you've got that gift, and Guru Sahib Ji's given you enough wealth to now just focus on distributing. People will say you're crazy. So Bhakt Kabir Ji says, Mere Baba, Main Baura. Yes, this says I'm crazy because that's how you're perceiving me. Don't worry, I'll say it for you. And they're saying that this is what you've got to do nowadays. If it's not that you can't be there expecting for people to understand, you've just got to say, yeah, it's cool, I'm crazy, dude. Mere Baba, Main Baura, Sab Khalak Siyani, Main Baura. Then this says, Main Bigre Mat Aura. This is, I'm off the rails. Because today, somebody that is following the truth, they're saying they are classed of being off the rail. Main bigre mat aura. This is, don't let your kids hang around with me, Bhakt Kabir Ji say. This is because they'll go off the rails as well. They'll end up speaking the truth as well. They'll end up not listening to slander as well. They'll end up speaking sweetly as well. They'll end up renouncing their pride as well. They'll end up be more focused on giving to society. So that becomes normalized. They're not so caught up in, they don't want this nasha, they don't want the intoxication of the world, they want the nasha of the name of God from inside, of doing kirtan. When you sing the praises of God, when sangat comes together, this says that's the nasha, that's the intoxication we want. And they'll say, you guys are crazy. He says, forget that, I'll tell you myself that I'm crazy. That is Kalyug. Kalyug is that sama that's become normal. And then you're walking the opposite direction. Sadhguruji says there's 3 ingredients you need in your life to help you to escape from all these challenges of people looking down at you because you're trying to follow the path of truth. They're saying, how do you escape from Kalyug where you don't get pulled in, sucked into all these pressures of the way majority of people are living their lives. So Satguruji Pataji is saying to us, this is how you can do it. So starting here, the slok, they're saying sabadan, ratan. They said the first way is for you to become imbued in the sabadan, in which sabadan here means Gurbani, means the Guru's words. This very Bani that we are reading now, you become imbued and besotted and in love with the Guru's words. They're saying this is how you will get these 3 things. With these 3 things, you will escape from the pressures and being sucked in by Kalyug, this era. So Gurbani, Satguruji Patji say to us in Gurbani, they say this Bani is what? This is Ratana, Ratan, Padarth Bahu Parya Sagar. Patji say to us, they say that Ratana, Ratan, Padarth Bahu Sagar Parya Ram. Sadhguruji Patji say to us, Ratana, Ratan. They said jewels upon jewels. Padarth. Padarth means this is what you'll get. Bahut sagar parya ram. This great sagar. What is the great sagar? The great sagar is this ocean of the Guru's Bani. Sankiji, I know in the video you can't see the Pothi Sahib here, but the Sanchi, the Guru's Bani here. And as I'm saying this word, it's like this just overwhelming joy and love and just touching the Guru's Bani within my heart just welled up as I was saying that. Because Satguruji's words are about this Bani, about these words of the Guru. They're saying that ratan, jewels upon jewels. Jewels, what jewels? Jewels meaning qualities, merits inside. Kande ratan padarth bahut sagar parya ram bani gurbani lage. Kande, you know these words? Which words? The Guru's words, not just any old words of anyone. They said, but the Guru's words. Kende bani gurbani lage tin hath chadya ram. Tin hath. Kende, when you attach yourself to this Bani, kende bani gurbani chadya. Kende gurba lage. Kende tin hath. Kende, what will you get in your hands? Kende, those people hath in your hands. Tin hath chadya ram. Kende, you'll get. What will climb into your hand? Satguruji saying, look at this Bani, beautiful. The way Guru Sahib Ji describes it. What will climb into your hand? These jewels, these qualities. Bani Gurbani lage tin hath chadya ram. Gurbani lage tin hath chadya. Gurbani lage tin hath chadya. Nirmolak ratan apara. This nirmolak, this invaluable. Nirmolak, what? Ratan. This ratan, this jewel you get into your hand. So what is this? Attaching to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Paatji said, they said, I will remain in 3 different forms when I leave this world physically. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Paatji said, one is I will be that immersed in everything as that formless. They said, then second will be Guru Granth Sahib Ji, I'll be in the Shabad. Then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Paatji kende, but my third roop, but my third form will be where? My third form will be Tuisar Roop. My third roop will be the Gursix. Which Gursix? Gurbani Rat Jeh Nisapor, those that are imbued and completely drenched in the Guru's words. Teesar Roop Sikh hai more. Mine are the sek. My third form is the sek. Teesar Roop Sikh hai more. Gurbani Rat, those that are imbued in the name, in the word, in the Guru's word. Gurbani Rat Jeh Nispor. Nis means Sangaji, night, and Por means day. Night and day, those that are imbued in the Guru's Bani. What happened to those? Those that attach to the Guru's Bani? Hitan. This is the number 1 quality. This is the one ingredient that will come together to form this beautiful dish. And what is that? So hitan is the first one, which is love. Love for who? Love for everything. Love for everyone. Because love isn't something that we do towards one direction. Love does not discriminate. Love, like fire, does not see who it's gonna give its warmth to. They said this Gurbani will fill your heart with love, but you've got to become imbued in the Guru's word. You can't, not just by reading it like a ritual. It starts off like that. That's just the starting point. That is just the Pehli love. That is just the first stage of life when you do things as a ritual and it might seem dry, but you still do it every day. But then it goes beyond that. Only when you become imbued and so in love with the Guru's words, only then your heart will be filled with love. This love will radiate to everyone. Love is unconditional. In love, you don't want anything back for it. In love, you are ready to sacrifice anything for that person. In love, all you want to do is give. It's not about receiving anymore. It's just everything within your mind is about giving. Love isn't that what you are trying to suck out of somebody else. Only then, when does jealousy come into my life? Jealousy comes, that jealousy is what? Jealousy is that when Satguruji say that jealousy is that type of thing that where no good can ever come anywhere near me if I am filled with jealousy. They said that jis andar taat parai hove tisda kade na hovi pala. That's what my Guru's Bani say. This is just jis andar taat parai hove. Those that have jealousy inside of themselves for others, tisda kade na hovi pala. So what is jealousy? Jealousy is when you're not happy about when somebody else reaches a certain place in their life. Somebody might have got promoted at work and inside you start to burn and thinking, why? Why them? Somebody else, for example, a child, I had this conversation with my own children today, and one of the children got praised by their mother for something, and the other child said, oh, but mummy, why? Why is he getting all these plus points or whatever they are, these positive points? Because the other one started to get jealous. So, kisi di tarakki dekh ke andro sarna, seeing somebody developing and then burning from inside, that's jealousy. Seeing what someone else has got and then thinking that I should have had that. I should have been in that position. Why have they got there? That's jealousy. How could good ever come to you when you're burning from inside? You want something, but you're burning. That is self-destruction. That is you're a ticking time bomb. You're destroying yourself. Sadhguruji Pachaji is saying that hitan in prem, when our heart is filled with this such a powerful emotion of love, jealousy can't come anywhere near us. Then, once that's there, once love is inside of us, once that emotion is there, we don't need anyone else to have that emotion. It's something that it's a gift that is gifted to us through the Guru, through that divine Vahiguruji. And then, Sangaji, then everything that the Guru has been talking about in this Bani, that nothing is permanent, everything that you've got attachment for, that death is inevitable, then for you, none of these things matter for you anymore. You've not become heartless, it's because you become filled inside and now you live in the acceptance of God's will. So even if somebody else does die now, you've not actually lost anything. Yes, you might have lost something on a physical level in the sense of somebody may have been there for you physically who actually did things for you. Or you've left somebody, but no, when your own heart is filled with love, you haven't even lost someone that gives you emotional support. Because once you've got that emotion of love, you don't need any emotional support anymore. We're only in need of emotional support when our heart isn't filled with love yet. This is what the Bani will give us. It will give us this ratan jewel of love. And then the second jewel that will be given is what? Then Pachaji, let me find where I am. There we go. Then Pachaji saying meaa. Meaa is something that stems from love, because love does not discriminate and love is for all. And then whoever I see, whatever I see in this world, whatever comes into my consciousness, into my awareness, when somebody else is suffering, enters my area of awareness, because I wasn't aware of it before. Now once it enters my awareness, somebody's suffering, then from love is then the even more powerful emotion, which is then meaa, which is compassion. So then I'm filled with compassion. Then that compassion takes away my ego, because now I'm not focused on myself anymore. All I'm focused on is others suffering, but their suffering doesn't bring suffering to me. Their suffering doesn't bring sorrow to me. They're suffering because they can't, because I'm filled with love. But instead, what their suffering brings to me is this beautiful, powerful emotion of compassion when I see your suffering, and from that love, I want that emotion to become my drive to eliminate that suffering. And not in homage, not in ego, but with the grace, because meaa also means with the mercy. With Waheguruji's mercy upon me, I want to, it's not the I anymore that wants to get rid of this. Once that suffering's there, it's this natural emotion inside of you that will drive you to this desire of this suffering to end. There's no I in it. And then, Sankiji, the third thing for us to remain above the water, this ocean of Kalyug, of this era that is drowning us in attachment. Now the third thing, so we've got love, we've got compassion, and then we've got kirtan. Kirtan is what? Kirtan is praise. And the first thing when we think of praise, the one way we praise is through this jewel of Gurbani. We sing the Guru's words. We come together as Sangat, we sing our hearts out in praise of Waheguruji. But praise of Waheguruji does not stop at the Vajja, it continues, because the essence of praise of Waheguruji is in action. It means I'm in constant awareness and in appreciation and in praise of that one through that gratitude and appreciation of everything. Let's have a look at what Satguruji tell us in Sri Sukhmani Sahib Bani, that the same Satguruji Sache Pacha Tan Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they tell us that Jeh Prasad Rang Ras Bhog. They say to us, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they say Jeh Prasad Rang Ras Bhog. I say these panktiyan slowly so we can become imbued in them. They can go inside. This is praise. Not singing it alone is not praise, because we could be singing it unconsciously. We're just singing it, Jai Prasad. We're reading it, just Jai Prasad, Paramatma, Jai Prasad, Rang Ras Bhog, Jai Prasad. We're just ripping it. That's not become praise yet. That's just then the first love yet of Theorem Dirdoho. So don't worry, you don't have to find that Pangati, because I'm going to go back, I'm going to stick to this. So this is Sangatiji. That first stage is Theorem, where yes, we do it ritually, but we don't want to stay there. We don't want to remain at just being able to crawl. We want to walk, and we want to then walk, we want to run. We want to run and then hug Waheguruji. So how do we then run and start hugging Waheguruji? Is then when we're living in kirti, in praise. In that praise we will say Jai Prasad Rang Ras Bhog. Why have I picked this Pangati? It's so powerful. When you read the translation, it might not speak to you much. It's saying with the grace of that one, this is now praise, and this is appreciation, this is awareness, this is consciousness. I'm saying that you enjoy, Pachi is saying you enjoy that even though Sukhmani Sahib Bani Pachi is taken upon themselves, so they're saying that it's with Waheguruji's Kirpa that I get to Rang. Rang means the different colours of life. What type of different colours are there of life? One of the colours of this life, for example, is food. So let's just use food for an example. That's one colour of life. And then, so we've got Rang, then Ras. Ras means, let's just translate it literally here. Ras means juice, and it could be translated here to pleasure as well. So one color is food, and then ras from that food. So even physically, on a physical level, when we chew something again and again, it makes it into liquid-like. And then when we really are getting the pleasure from food, it actually forms this ras inside of us. So from our saliva, it forms this really sweet salivary taste. You know, when we're saying that my mouth started to water, it creates this pleasure inside of us when we're really bog. What is bog? When we're really getting to enjoy something. So for example, we get to enjoy this color of food, one color of Guruji, which is food. And then whilst enjoying it, we get ras from it. Our mouth starts to water. And it's like this amrit is there sitting inside. Sankiji, this is how amazing Akal Purkh Guruji is. As I'm speaking to you, that ras is getting formed inside of me right now. I'm feeling it now. That normally my mouth dries, but Guruji is so immense that this experience I'm sharing with you, Sankiji, I can actually feel my mouth watering now, not even thinking about food, but just the pleasure I'm getting of the Guru's Bani. This Bani is so mind-blowing, it's actually bringing a ras to me right this moment. Satguruji is saying, Jai Prasad Rang Ras Pog. Why am I saying this is something to appreciate when we actually are feeling that juice, that love of food, when we're actually enjoying something? Because you know why? Because that is God's grace. And we're thinking, what is he on about? Like, just eating some food for God's sake. See, eat roti. Sing. No. I can tell you again from personal experience. Somebody that is sitting before you that has experienced some of the most darkest pits and places of depression. In depression, there's no enjoyment in food. There's no ras, there's no pleasure. You can be eating something that was your most favorite food you could ever imagine, and now that food feels like cardboard, and it feels like it's getting stuck in your throat and you can't even swallow it. There's no pleasure left. When you hit depression, such a low within your brain, there's no happy chemical being formed. You're eating something and you just want to throw it up. You feel anxiety of eating. You eat really fast. You're trying to just get it out the way. So now tell me, is it kirpa or not? Imagine living our life like this. Every little thing we think, wow, that's Gurmantar. Eating and we think, wow, I'm enjoying this. And the moment we think I'm enjoying it, and Pachaji, that's why they say to us, Vismad Pokh, Vismad Pog. They said, I'm in awe, I'm wonderstruck, Vismad Pog. I'm in so much awe that you even blessed me to get hungry, and now I'm in so much awe that I'm actually even getting to enjoy this. This is your grace, Vismad Pog. Wow, I'm enjoying this. Just that enjoyment is mind-blowing kirpa. It's Guruji's grace. And we say, well, this is an experience of God. This isn't believing in God. In Sikhi, in humanity, little secret, in the whole of the creation, Gurbani just tells us about how Guruji works. So when we say in Sikhi, that actually makes no sense, by the way. What we should be saying, the Satguru is giving me wisdom of the whole entire creation, of the way Guruji's laws work. He's saying that wow, I'm enjoying this. Imagine living life like this. That is then Saas Gras Simran. That is Saas Simron Gobind. That's what Pachaji is talking about then. Jo Saas Gras Dhyaye. This is those that actually meditate on Guruji. With each breath and each morsel of food, you get to enjoy it and you think, wow, Guruji, this is Simran. Simran means to remember. When you say, wow, that it's because of your grace I'm getting to enjoy this, because I have no power over this to be able to enjoy something. I have no power over to actually experience the pleasure out of something. This is to form that water, my mouth to water. I have no power. That's your grace, Waheguruji. I can have my most favorite food and it waters my mouth, but then I hit rock bottom in depression. I've been through this. I've been through depression to the extent where I would eat so fast that I didn't even know that I've eaten, because I was experiencing so much anxiety. I couldn't even sit down to eat. I used to have to stand, and I used to be actually bouncing up and down and quickly shoving that food down my mouth. To that point where there's people that experience depression, they don't eat for days. They can't even bring themselves to sit in front of a plate of food. Sangaji, somebody could be completely normal on a mental health level, but they've just lost somebody. There's many people in this moment that are losing people to this virus, and they've just lost their parents. They've lost their loved ones, and ask them, are they getting that pleasure out of food? If they're not, and if we are, isn't that grace? That's an experience of Waheguruji. That's not believing in Waheguruji. The Guru doesn't talk to us about believing. The Guru talks to us about experiencing. The Guru talks to us not about believing, but the Guru talks to us about having faith in the Guru's word. When we have faith in the Guru's word, that faith will take us to a place of Gyan. Gyan does not mean intellectual knowledge. Gyan means experience. Jeh Gyan teh dharam hai. Where there's an experience, jeh Gyan teh dharam hai, then you'll actually know what this path to Waheguruji is. Then you'll experience what life actually is. Being in that appreciation of Jeh Prasad, that even for me to be able to step my foot on this earth, I'm not going to go into it anymore because that's Sukhmani Sahib Katha. So I'm going to stop myself there. But for me, just sharing that was an experience of Waheguru. We don't need to believe in Waheguru. It's being present with Waheguruji. Satguruji say to us here, Kirtan, that's how we praise. Once we've got these three things, Satguruji says, Kali Karam Kritva. Kali means Kalyug. In this age, Karam, what is the Karam? Karam, what is the action? Action is quite a dry word. So Karam here will say, what is the way out from Kalyug, where when somebody is doing something unrighteous that has started to seem normal to most people, saying Kritva, the saying Kritva means Ehe Karan Yogya, this is worthy of doing, is filling your heart with love, being taken over by compassion, and living in praise and gratitude. But how do we get this? Is through falling in love with the Guru's words. Wow, that's one line. That's a long time I've taken. So that's one pankti done. Well done, Baljit Singh. And now the second pankti to this Salok Pachis kende mitant tatragat param mohang. All this what we've been talking about in the previous videos, this param, this doubt of what is the doubt? The doubt is, but only if I can live this life forever, only if I can be here forever. And it's not that, remember I said intellectually we know that we can't, that death is inevitable, but the doubt is in the back of our mind, because we don't consciously live like that. There's this something in the back thinking like, we're here forever, it's all right, we'll do whatever, we're here forever. And that is the doubt that this world is real and it's not going to come to an end. This life is not going to come to an end. That is the biggest doubt we could be in. Not realizing that Guruji is the only thing that is eternal and that is the only thing that's going to remain with me. Mohang is the attachment to this life. We went through those that are attached to this body yesterday and don't want to leave this body. And then, but Guru Sahib Ji says, all that can be taken away for you. That can be erased. How? Tatragat, tatra means three. When these three things come, agat, come, these three things, what are they? I'm sure everyone has memorized them now at home. Love, compassion, and praise. There'll be no attachment left. There's no such thing as attachment in love, because you're full, you're content. Only when we find love inside, we're content. Bhagavan Ramanang Sarvatra. Who is that love for? Is towards Bhagavan, towards God. Where is God? God is Ramanang. Ramanang means God is pervading in everything. Sarvatra, Sar, Batra means in everything. Sarvatra means everything. Ramanang means pervading. That God is pervading in everything. So I have love for everything. Loving God means you've got love for everything. Thanyang. And where's that place? Than, that Guruji is, that place is Sarvatra, is everywhere. So that means doesn't matter where I go, that Chatar Chakar Passe, Guruji will always be by me. Chatar mere paas hi honge. I will never feel that Guruji is not with me, because Guruji is everywhere. So wherever I go in this world, no matter where I go mentally, no matter if I go even low, even if I go into that depression, even if I go into sorrow, if I've just lost my loved one, it doesn't matter where I go. Chatar Chakar, because Chatar means four, Chakar means directions, because that Guruji, this is Sri Jap Sahib di Bani, Tan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Paatshah Ji, Kalgi Tar Paatshah Ji di Bani, and they are saying this, they are sharing their experience with us, their gyan with us of Guruji. They're not teaching us a lesson from a textbook. That's why the Guru is very different to a teacher at school. They're saying Chatar Chakar Passe. Why? And they're saying Chatar Chakar, Guruji is with me everywhere, because Chatar Chakar Vase. Because Guruji is Vasa, because Guruji resides in all four directions. So no matter what direction I go to, even if I go to the direction of sorrow, even if I go to the direction of happiness, even if I go to the direction of anger, no matter what, even if my thoughts get so bad, if my thoughts go to the direction of suicide, that Wahpase, that one is there as well. It only takes a split second to actually submit ourselves to that one and then beg that one to have that complete faith and say, let me experience you, O Guruji. I've gone to that place of even being suicidal, but I know Guru Gobind Singh Ji, I've got faith in my Guru's words. The Guru has said, Chatar Chakar Passe, that you are still close to me even over there. Chatar Chakar Vase, that you exist there as well. No matter where I go, I can go out of space on the moon, you're there as well. You'll be Passe there as well. Thanyang, everywhere. Drishtatuvang. They said, if I receive your drishti, this is how do I get. So I submit myself to Gurbani, I imbue myself in the Guru's word. Once I'm imbued in the Guru's word and I fall in love with you, then what will happen? Drisht Tovang, Tovang means yours, Drisht means that glance of mercy, that glance of kindness. You'll look at me with compassion, Guruji, and then what will happen? Amog Darshanang, then I'll get to have that darshan. That is amog, means that is fruitful. That your darshanang, when I start to experience you everywhere, inside, outside, then that is completely fruitful. That can only bring good to me. They said Basant Sad Rasana, and this is where else will I experience you? I'll realize that when a sadhu, when a saint of yours, Basanta, you reside where? You reside upon the tongue of a saint, on the tongue of a Bhagat, of a devotee, on the tongue of Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani. When I read Bani, I can experience Guruji that you are saying on the tongue of my Guru's words. And then Paatji say to us, Hare, 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 Hare. And then what will happen? Then I will be meditating on what Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah kende Nanak prayang jap japana. Kende that beloved, prayang means beloved. That beloved Vaheguru Ji Akal Purkh Ji of mine, jap japana. I will be meditating on that name of yours, Vaheguru Ji. What name of yours? Of that Gurmantar that you give me of Vaheguru. And over here, Paatshah just used another name of God. They're saying Har Hare. Hey Hare, E Vaheguru Ji, oh my beloved prayang, jap japana. I meditate on you, Vaheguru Ji. Har man, har bach, har karam, in mind, words, speech and action. So that's the 8th Sangat Ji Salok of Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And I'm going to do Akhri Arth of the next Salok, because this is very similar to things that we have already gone through. So I don't need to go into this into detail. So that's why I'll just do the literal translation of the next Salok, where Paatshah is saying Katant Rupang. Katant means something that is diminishing, that is coming to an end. Rupang means my beauty. That this beauty that I have, yes Sangaji, I call myself beautiful. So this beauty that we all have, this form means form as well, all this beauty. So let's translate it, look at it at beauty. When we have this beauty in our youth, that Sadhguruji says we all know that it doesn't remain. We desperately try to hold on to it. People get all sorts of creams and all sorts of things so that they don't get wrinkles. People go and get plastic surgeries done. But Guru Sahib Ji says you can do and try as much as you want, but the beauty of you when you're in your youth does not remain the same. Everything is diminishing, is coming to an end slowly. Even this form does not remain the same. Everything is actually reducing. Deepang means even all the continents, everything within this world, all the continents within this world, that Deepang, even they are diminishing. They are getting closer to one day of actually just absorbing back into Vaheguru Ji. Because it's not here, it's not permanent, this whole existence isn't going to remain forever. That means even all the continents, everything, all these sections, different sections of the world, they are getting closer to their death. Katanta Rava, even the sun. They said even the sun, Rav means sun, even the sun Katanta is diminishing and is actually reducing. Meaning, not that the light is getting it's becoming dim of the sun. Sun doesn't mean like that. Even scientists will tell us that there is no star on this world that is here permanently, and they've all got a time limit. Just like we spoke about in one of the Saloks, that we all have come with a limited amount of breaths, that even though the sun doesn't breathe like us, but the sun has got a lifespan and it is reducing. And even scientists believe and say this, they predict this through their studies, to say that one day, and it could be millions of years, and some even say billions of years, where the sun will stop existing. So Guru Sahib Ji said this without any studies, without anything. They says Katanta Rava, the sun is diminishing. Sasir means the Chandrama, the moon. They said that is diminishing. Even that one day will come to an end. Nakshatra means the stars. All the stars will come to an end one day. They are all diminishing. Gaganang means the sky. So they said the sky is diminishing. Katanta Basuda means the earth. The earth is getting closer and closer to its own death as well, meaning that it's diminishing day by day, moment by moment. And then Gir means the mountains. Tar means the trees. We all know that even a tree doesn't remain forever. Even that tree one day, it will diminish. We know this, it doesn't matter what it is, nothing remains the same. Even we spoke about the beauty. Even the beauty of a leaf does not remain the same. Even that leaf comes to an end one day. One day it's lush and green, but even that greenness does not remain, and that starts to diminish and it starts to become brown. So even a leaf, even the tree, the forests, the jungles, everything Sache Paatshah Ji is saying to us is diminishing moment by moment. then basada gir tar sikhundang. Sikhundang means jere shikhar te ne. That meaning even the peaks, the highest of the mountains, they are all going to crumble one day. And even now, if you look at any mountain that it's been affected by the weather, by the rain, and little by little that the grains of that stone and the dust starts to come away from it and they start to crumble. Little by little, it could take millions of years, but it is happening. They're all diminishing. Katanang lalana. This is katant, maaf karna. This is katant lalana. Lalana means your istri, meaning your wife, meaning your spouse. They said your spouse, no matter how much that you may be attached to them, but the truth of it is katant, that they one day are gonna perish. They are not permanent. They are all getting closer and closer to their death. That we've gone into all of this in detail in the other sloks. Sut, be your children, they are diminishing. They are not here permanent. Prat, your siblings. Hitan, those that love you, all your friends. Katant, kanik, gold as well. He said gold is something that is not going to remain forever as well. Katant, manik means all the jewels. Maya, savrupang, all these things that are the savrupang, are the form of Maya, that are an illusion, that are mithya, that haven't always been and won't always remain as well, Guru Sahib Ji saying. So they said that getting attached to any of these things will only bring suffering for us. Only filling our heart with love, we will feel content. And then Nehekatante Kevalang Gopal, but Pachi saying there is something that is not diminishing. They're saying, what is it that is not diminishing? Can the Nehekatante Keval, the only thing is can the Gopal, the one that made everything, the one, that source that is behind everything, is not going to come to an end, is not going to diminish Achut, because that one is Achut, that one is Atal. That one will not ever leave and will not ever go and will always remain. Asthirang is completely stable and will always be. Nanako Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paach Ji saying to us, Kande Saad Jan, and the other thing that will always remain are the servants of God. How is it that the servants of God remain? Because once you have realized yourself, your true self, and you've had enlightenment, meaning that you've realized your soul to be a part of Paramatma and you are just a little speckle of all that Paramatma, then for them there is no end. In that way they are stable as well. So we can get to there as well by doing Ardasa, by begging Waheguru Ji to show us that marg of truth. And then Sangat Ji, that the next Salok, I could have done it in literally, I could do it in a minute, but it's got so much in it that I won't do justice to it, and I will leave that now for tomorrow. So from tomorrow we'll start from Nehebalam Tarmang. So from next week I will step it up a bit, and not to say that I'm not going to do justice to it, but I will be able to step it up, because some of the things that will come again in this slok will be quite repetitive. Basically will constantly keep reminding us that you're not here forever and you are going to die. So, Sangaji, if anyone listening today thought that, oh, you know what, that picking on these type of subjects and topics of somebody that is living their life with alcohol, consuming alcohol and these things, remember, there is no judgment on anyone. It's just bringing to your own awareness the consequences and the type of life that we are leading and we are giving into society, and to realize that, Sangaji, I've sat here and somebody that in the past that has consumed an immense amount of alcohol and drugs, smoking cannabis, and I can, with my hand on my heart, say to the Sangat that just sharing the Guru's words with you today brought me so much pleasure, which is beyond any intoxication, any spliff that I smoked ever in my life. This is that true buzz that you can get high. There's somebody, a beautiful human being, today that you could actually, who practices a lot of pranayama, and from Europe, and he always says to people ask him that, do you consume alcohol, do you do this? And this is a Westerner that's grown up in Europe, who's inspiring many people to live a happier life through just breathing techniques. And he says, I don't need to, because he goes, I get high on my own supply. He goes, just get higher on your own supply. And all that ras that we're looking for from different things is already sitting inside of us, that we can experience through the Guru and through meditation. Itni ek benti hai Pravan. So now we will be back on Monday to continue with the Salok Katha. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.